Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. As you guys know, the NBA season is finally here. Training camp is here. Audios are coming out every day. I just read an audio just before producing the show of Anthony Davis, I think on Yahoo Sports, talking about Bronny hit a 3 over LeBron James, and the LeBron's teammates were basically trash talking in Bronny's favor, that Bronny hit a 3 over LeBron and all of that, right? So everybody's doing good, right? And the LeBron fans are now slowly starting to come through the turnstiles. They're getting ready to start wrestling with people in the comment section because, as I said before, and I'm going to say it again, LeBron fans do not joke when it comes to LeBron. They do not play. They don't be playing when it comes to King James. They don't be messing around when it comes to LeBron. So what happened? Yesterday, I was going through the internet on Instagram, and an image was referred to me by NBA on ESPN, and it said, "How are you rating LeBron's Lakers tenure?" Now, before I even get into this image, we've done various shows on Laker grades. We did a show around when Kobe got his statue and all of that. And there's some LeBron fans I know that believe that LeBron James not only should get his jersey retired in LA, but they also believe it or not, that LeBron James deserves a statue in front of Staples Center. Now, some of y'all are like, "But you're joking." And I'm like, no, I'm not joking. So what happened? I read through this graphic that we're going to show to you in a moment. And after I read through the graphic, it was impressive. I now started reading through the comments. And LeBron fans were out in droves, basically saying LA should definitely give this man a statue. Okay, so let's put up the graphic. It says, LeBron in 6 seasons as a Laker. 27 a game, 7.9 rebounds, 8 assists, 6 All-Star NBA, 6 All-Star appearances, 6 All-NBA teams, 1 NBA Finals, 1 Finals MVP, 1 NBA Cup champ. Man, I can't even believe they added that nonsense to this graphic. I didn't even read it properly. They had the nerve to put one. Man, y'all better stop with this. Anyway, let me read through the comments now, because these comments are hilarious. One guy says, "That's a whole Hall of Fame career in just 6 years." Another person said, "Definitely getting a statue," right? Definitely getting a statue. One person said, "No statue, but definitely getting a jersey hung up." Another person said, "Cap." Another person said, under him, "He's gonna get a statue," right? Then another person said, "Looks stellar to me." Another guy said, who I'm sure they clobbered in the comment section, he said, "We need one more chip out of him, respectfully." Another person said, 3 Hall of Fame careers on y'all haters' heads. Top 3. Heads, tops. Okay. Another person said, wasted. Lakers don't know how to run a team or build a contending roster. Shaking my head. Another person said, Hall of Famer on every team he's played for. Hall of Fame career in LA, definitely getting jersey retired, getting his jersey retired, and some other people in the comments arguing about whether or not he should have a statue and all of that. And they put up the various graphics there. I can't find those comments, but people are in there talking about statues and all of that. What are my comments on this? Should LeBron get his jersey retired? I don't even think it's going to be a question of whether he should or shouldn't. He's going to get his jersey retired, right? I think Pau Gasol got his jersey retired. He won 2 championships, but excuse me, LeBron James is a better basketball player. He's more accomplished and he's a bigger name. Excuse me, and he's won an NBA championship. So with that organization, so I don't doubt that the Lakers are definitely going to hand over what do you call it? Hand over, hang his jersey in the rafters. In terms of getting a statue I am not sure about. The reason is I'm not sure he would have done enough to warrant a statue, right? I'm not sure he did it. 1 championship, I don't know. Making all-star appearances and all of that, I get that. But a statue, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. And you got to look at guys that already have statues for the Lakers. You look at Kobe. You look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You look at Shaq, who I believe has a statue. You look at Magic Johnson. Those guys won multiple championships. I think LeBron, for him to, and they played a long time. I think the way LeBron would get a statue is if he probably won another championship and he played for maybe another 2 or 3 seasons at a elite level. Then I think they would do that. I think they would do that. Now, do I believe that the Lakers are capable of giving LeBron James a statue by the time he retires? 100% I believe they're capable. What we have learned about the Lakers organization is that they're capable of anything at this point. They drafted J.J. Redick as a new head coach who had no coaching experience anywhere. They did that. They drafted Bronny James and tried to make it into a bit. They did that. So would they give him it would not surprise me. And also, I have heard Lakers owner, Governor Jeannie Buss say that one of her biggest goals, or her number one priority, is to do everything to make LeBron James happy. So I wouldn't put it past them. I think that the Lakers organization are very committed to LeBron and what he brings to the organization. So that would not surprise me. So my response is this. Would I be surprised if he got a statue? No. Do I think he deserves a statue with only one championship? No. As you guys know, one of the biggest pieces of news out there is the case surrounding Sean Diddy Combs. It's crazy at this point. You just heard about 120 new people have come out and accused. I mean, it's a total circus, right? But there's some people out there that have been arguing that this thing really kicked into hyperdrive when Sean Diddy Combs first launched a lawsuit against his former business partners, Diageo, right? Diageo, I believe, is a British company that produces liquors and alcohols and all of that. And ultimately, they did settle, but they had this lawsuit, and I think it had something to do with ownership stakes. Then he took it to a public forum where he was essentially calling him out, and then things quickly you got out of hand, and then he got raided and all of those different things, right? But some people believe, including 50 Cent, who's one of his biggest adversaries, said that he believes that lawsuit against Diageo really played a role in things being accelerated to where they are right now. Why am I bringing any of this up? I was going through the internet this morning, and I came across a very, very disturbing article out of Front Office Sports, and it had the following headline: Michael Jordan's 23 10i racing fights for bigger slice of NASCAR's $7.7 billion pie. And the moment I read that headline, I immediately thought of Diddy. Because when you're going up against a very powerful company, you risk, there's some risks that come with it, where people are going to want to get back at you. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, but it made me think about this situation with Diddy. But we really want to get into this article and break down the information for you guys so you guys can understand just what the heck is going on here. Okay, so let's get into what this article had to say here. NASCAR is about to get a $7.7 billion cash injection from its new media rights deals, and Michael Jordan wants a piece of the pie, or at least a bigger one. The NBA Legends Racing is part of an antitrust lawsuit that was filed against NASCAR on Wednesday, centered on how the sport's revenue is distributed. Last month, Jordan's team and Front Row Motorsports were the only two teams not to sign NASCAR's charter agreement, the sports versions of franchises, for 2025 to 2021, which is also the time frame of the $1.1 billion annual TV contracts with Amazon, Fox Sports, NBC Sports, and Warner Brothers Discovery. We did not have an opportunity to fairly bargain, 23X1 statement said at the time. The current split for the sports media rights revenue is roughly tracks 65%, teams 25%, NASCAR 10%. The catch is that 18 of the 36 Cup Series races on the 2025 schedule will be held at NASCAR-owned tracks. That means NASCAR would effectively be taking 42.5% of TV money, or an average of $467 million each year, while teams, there are 17 full-time squads with between 1 and 4 race cars, would split $275 million. Denny Hamlin, a co-owner in 23X1 Racing, who still drives for Joe Gibbs Racing, has previously said teams asked for closer to 50% of that media rights money. Tuesday's lawsuits labeled the France family, which owns NASCAR, monopolistic bullies. 23X1 or XI driver Tyler Reddick won the Cup Series regular season point championship, accumulating Jordan's most successful NASCAR season yet, after already helping bring an added spotlight to the sport. Reddick now sits 9th out of 12th on the ongoing playoffs. Front Row in 23X1 plan to ask for preliminary injunction that allows them to compete in 2025 without charter agreements. And you heard what the article had to say there, that they basically believe that they're bullies. There's another article here which says Michael Jordan sues NASCAR monopolistic bullies, and there's a part where they have a quote that I just quickly want to read. It says the following: the France family and NASCAR are monopolistic bullies. It then continues on, and bullies will continue to impose their will to hurt others until their targets stand up and refuse to be victims. That moment has now arrived. And then the lawsuit just goes on and on and on. It's a pretty wordy article that you guys can hunt down there from Front Office Sports. What are my thoughts about this? I want to be very serious with you guys. I think that whenever you're an individual going up against these major corporations, you risk them wanting some get back. This is not the first time we've seen this. Now, do we know for 100% certainty that's what's happening with Sean Diddy Combs? No, but is it plausible that could be a reason? Yeah, certainly so. Certainly so. Even 50 Cent, as I said, who's one of his biggest public adversaries, said as much. And he's within the same spirits business, or industry rather, that Sean Diddy Combs was himself. To me, my only thoughts is I hope Jordan is careful. I hope that he doesn't ruffle any feathers in the wrong way. But I also think it's important to say this. The vantage point that you and I see things from is totally different from the vantage point that Michael Jordan sees things from, right? He has way more information than we do. So for MJ to be willing to go out there and be a part of this lawsuit, it tells you that he has a lot of information and he knows what the hell he's getting into. And I'm 100% sure that Jordan is cognizant of other people that have gone against major corporations and the possible downsides with doing so. And I'm pretty sure that he understands 100% what he's getting into. And in no way, shape, or form is the Jordan situation similar to the Diddy situation. I'm just talking about it from a standpoint of just be careful. Recently, we did a show on one of the biggest jokers we got going in the NBA, and none other than Ben Simmons himself. That damn Ben Simmons. He's just unreal. Ben Simmons brings out the worst in me. He brings out the worst in me. I don't know what to say, right? Ben Simmons went up there on Media Day. He sat up in the chair. The reporter sitting next to him. The reporter's sitting there reaching across to shake his hand. I'm looking at the guy like, why you want to shake his hand? But anyway, he reaches across to shake his hand. And they start asking Ben Simmons the question they've been asking him for what seems like the last 2-3 years now. Hey, Ben, how's your health doing? Ben then proceeds to respond with his usual, that grin on his face. Oh, you know, it's like, they must forgot about me. They must forgot about me. People act like I ain't that dude. And I'm like, yo, what is going on? Look, for those of you who don't remember, I apologize. This is going to be an absolute assault on your senses. But we want to play a little bit of what this Joker had to say at Media Day because it's going to give this show a lot of context when we come back. Take a listen to Ben Simmons here, please.
And Ben, first and foremost, from your mouth, just how are you feeling heading in after that second surgery?
Amazing.
Okay.
Took plenty of time off to get the body right, get through the rehab process, and I'm back playing, so excited to play.
So the plan will be you're available for training camp, and as of right now, you'll be available on opening night.
So compete and play. Yep, ready to go.
We talked to Cam Thomas. We talked to Cam Johnson. We were just discussing this, and they said you at the top and healthy 100% is going to make this team work like a well-oiled engine.
I think people forget, me as a player when I'm healthy. I could play basketball. I'm pretty good, right? So for me, it's just being consistent with that and staying on top of my body and just getting better every day and staying in the gym with these guys.
So when you made your season debut last year and you almost had a triple-double, you were dominating the game without really even scoring.
Without being 100%.
But that was my thing. So when you look at that and you look at the players around you and everyone, kind of has the nets slotted into where they believe it's going to happen, but it seems like you could be the difference maker. But that going back to that game in particular, you still feel like you have that where you can dominate a game even if you're not scoring.
Definitely. I feel like I just see the game differently. And for me, I feel like my IQ plays a huge role in that. And I'm able to get my guys going, get them open shots, and kind of dictate the pace of the game. So being healthy, being able to attack, being able to score, and do those things I was able to do prior will help.
Being healthy and being on the floor, you're the leader of this team, 3-time All-Star. What are your expectations with a healthy Ben Simmons for this team?
Just to push everybody. I think it's a whole new team, new coaches, expecting the best from everybody every day.
Okay, that's enough of that nonsense. You heard what Ben Simmons said. So what happened? One of the hottest sports shows in the sports media space, Cam and Mace, It Is What It Is, Come Talk to Me, right? They're there. Now, if you know anything about that show, Cam seems to be more outspoken than Mace. Mace seems to be a little bit more reserved, but when he does talk, he pretty much cuts through the nonsense and basically tells it like it is. Cam does as well, but Cam be trying to, give you a little soft landing. Mace just says his own, and that's it. And that's what happens. So they bring the topic, the moderator brings the topic to Mace and Cam. And apparently what she said to him was, Ben Simmons, I think, is number 14 all-time in NBA history in triple-doubles. And for whatever reason, Mace ended up getting annoyed by the simple thought of the total ineptitude that Ben Simmons has subjected us to over the last 2 years and absolutely went off on his ass. So for those of you who did not hear what Mace had to say about this Joker, Ben Simmons, I'm going to play what he had to say for you now, and we're going to give you some more of the absolute absurdity surrounding Ben Simmons. Take a listen to Mace here.
What are your expectations for him this season, Mace?
You said he's 14th.
In triple-doubles in NBA history, he's tied.
14th?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. That's pretty high. Are they talking about players active or all time?
NBA all time.
I got to read that stat for myself. I can't take that from
I'll show you
right now.
Look.
Stat.
Look, 14th.
With how many?
33. Then in front of him, Fat Lever, then Giannis, Sabonis, Larry Bird, James Harden. He's 14th all time.
All time. So now we're putting him in a category of Larry Bird and James Harden. And this gotta stop. This is definitely a come on my moment. No matter if you were 12, I don't care. Right now, you're Balenciaga Ben, your BCBG Ben, anything but basketball Ben right now. We're gonna keep it so firm, pause with you until you actually play. We haven't seen you since the green Bottega. The Bottega green you had on in Brooklyn. Right now, you're Bottega Ben. You got to put some buckets up, man. Are you healthy now? That's what we would want to know, because you let a lot of people in New York down. You gotta get back to playing basketball, and you got to get back to playing at a high level. I remember you was coming out of LSU. I actually thought you was gonna be up there with LeBron. So when I'm saying this from a very disappointed place. You let me down, my You just I don't know what else to say. You got to play basketball, and you got to play basketball right now. I don't want to hear no type of injuries that can be scrutinized as if you're playing around or milking the system. Pause. You've gotten enough bread out of everybody. It's time for you to play. I don't care about what Stat just read. She read that. I'm not reading that. What you got to say, Killer?
So you heard what Mace had to say. I want to take it a step further because some people feel like, oh, he's going a little bit too hard on. I'm not. Matter of fact, I'm not even going hard enough. Let me give you guys some information here. Do y'all know how much Ben Simmons is about to get paid this year? Ben Simmons is slated to earn, get this, $40 million. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is about to earn $40 million this season. $40 million. I want to give you guys some information in terms of how much Ben Simmons has made over the last 2 years. Let me just give you guys some data here. Ben Simmons' salary last year, okay, he earned $37.8 million. The year prior to that, he earned $35.4 million. That type of number, those type of numbers are like all-star production, right? Let me give you the gaudy numbers that Ben Simmons put up in the last 2 seasons. 2 years ago, in 42 games, he averaged 7 points a game on 56% shooting, on 44% shooting from the free throw line. Last year, he averaged 6 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, shot 40% from the free throw line. I'm not mentioning threes because he didn't even bother to waste his time and hours. And he got you 7.9 rebounds and 5.7 assists. Those were Ben Simmons' numbers last year. In the last 2 seasons, Ben Simmons has earned over $65 million. In a total of 3 years, which include the last 2 seasons, and this year, Ben Simmons will be earning north of $100 million. So Ben Simmons has said he's going to come back this year. Oh, people, I'm here. Oh, he about to turn it all the way up. Y'all better be ready for Ben. Ben ain't playing around this year. If Ben Simmons comes back and assaults us with another triple single, if he assaults us, mugs us with another triple single, I think every sports media publication should roast his ass from game 20 all the way to the end of the season. Because those seasons, they said Uncle Ben had back problems. Okay? They said he had some back tightness. That's the reason why Uncle Ben didn't shoot so well. Now, I don't know what that has to do with the fact that he shot 44% from the free throw line and 40% from the free throw line last year. I don't know what that got to do with anything. But where we are in terms of our general sentiment about Uncle Ben, our general sentiment is everybody believes that Ben Simmons is the biggest joker going. And when you have celebrities like Mason, Cameron even went a step further. Ben Simmons is wasting everybody's time. They got a meme of this dude that's a graphic that looks like the Earth going around the orbit of the sun. But instead, it's Ben Simmons going around the orbit of his parlor because that's where he spends most of his time. You got Ben Simmons, he'll drop a mixtape every summer, which is him shooting jumpers. Then the season will start, then he'll get injured. Mysteriously. And then he'll miss a whole bunch of games, and he'll come back again, drop another mixtape. And then just keep repeating this process. Repeat what he said is exactly what he said last year. It's exactly what he said last year. But what can you expect from Uncle Ben, the biggest joker in the entire NBA? Sports media is turning into one of the most lucrative industries out there if you can get it right. It's still a very early industry, and guys are really starting to make the big dollars, have really started making the big dollars in the independent sector over the last 5 to 10 years. Prior to that, if you wanted to make any serious money, you need to work at some serious publication or work on television. That's where you made the bulk of your cash, and that's the reason why most of the biggest names in sports media, we see them on television, right? But as things have begun to change, you now see guys stepping into the independent space where they're making some serious dollars. You have Pat McAfee, who came from the independent space. Of course, you have Joe Rogan, but he came from a different sector. You have people like Shannon Sharp. You have the Kelsey brothers out there making some serious bank. You have Dan Le Batard. They got a $50 million deal from DraftKings, and so many other shows, right? So many other shows doing fantastically well. And one of the people that began to take notice of this is Stephen A. Smith. Now, we all know that Stephen A. Smith is unquestionably the face of ESPN. There's no doubt about it. He's their biggest personality, makes the most headlines. He's the number one guy. And he's had the number one morning show, if my recollection serves me correctly, over the last 12 years. No, was it 12 or 10 years? Something like that, but it's been for a pretty long period of time. And he always states this. So what happened? Some news came out some months ago that were centered on the contract negotiations between himself and ESPN. And basically what was taking place was that his contract was due to expire, I believe, next year. So he was in talks of renegotiating a new contract. And if you listen to Stephen A. Smith, you know that he's keenly aware of what people are making around him. He pays close attention to it, and he always says that. He's a capitalist. He wants to make the most. So Stephen A. Smith has been positioning himself to get a major payday come the expiration of his contract as he now tries to sign for a new one. And one of the figures we've been hearing, that he's been going after is that Stephen A. Smith has been clamoring for a contract that would give him over $120 million contract over, over, I think 5 or 6 years or something. I believe 5 years. So what happened? This morning I was going through the internet and I came across a clip from Sports on Max featuring Stephen A. Smith, who was talking to Chris Wallace. And they were talking about a range of things, but this particular clip had to do with the specific talk surrounding his contract negotiations with ESPN. And if you know anything about Stephen A. Smith, he's not one to mince words. He tells you exactly what he feels, and he has no problem telling people to go kick rocks. And that's exactly what he did when he was talking about whether or not he believes he deserves a $100 million contract. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what he had to say. It's only about a minute or so clip, and then we're going to come back and really get into his what he had to say. Take a listen to Stephen A. Smith here.
Your ESPN contract,
yes, sir,
is what we're told up next year. And the word on the street is that you want something in the range of $100 million for 5 years.
Right.
True?
I'm not getting specific as it pertains to numbers because only a fool discusses his own negotiations while negotiating. I would ask respectfully, pay attention to the industry, see what people are getting paid, see how much money they're making and what they're bringing to the table. Dak Prescott just signed a contract for $240 million. He's making $60 million a year. He made sure to get...
I know, he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
Who has won 2 playoff games in 8 years. I've been number 1 for 12. I'm sorry. In our respective industries, I win. And I'm fully aware of what I'm worth. And I will never apologize to that for anybody.
So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say, right? You heard what he had to say. Now, some people are a little bit upset that he brought in Dak Prescott to try to draw a contrast by basically saying he doesn't win, I win, and all of that. And then Chris Wallace said, but he's a quarterback, and then he completed the analogy and all that. But some people got upset. He's like, wait, man, you're looking at other people's money. Yeah, Stephen A. Smith does that. All right, he does that. He's, as I said before, he's keenly aware of what people make around him. Now, the question is, should ESPN pay him $100 million? I think that if that's what the market says he deserves, then they should pay him. If the market says he deserves to get paid $150 million, he should make $150 million. It doesn't come down to what I think. It comes down to what the market says he's worth. And if the market says he's worth $100 million, then he should do it. Now, if the market is saying he's worth $80 million and he's negotiating for an additional $20 million, I think he should also do that as well. There's nothing wrong with negotiating. There's nothing wrong with bargaining. I don't have any issue with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's smart. right? Another thing I do like about what he said, and I think is very important, is to understand what your value is, regardless of whatever industry you're in. I think that is pivotal, right? It's pivotal because then you won't get shortchanged, right? You may be worth, I don't know, for example, $10 an hour, right? And someone is trying to shortchange you and pay you $5 an hour. Well, if you don't know that you're worth $10 an hour, you're going to accept the 5. But if you're keenly aware of the fact that you're worth $10, just to give you an example, then you're going to do anything you can in your power to at least get that. At least get that, and you will have a threshold that you're not willing to go below, right? So from that standpoint, I totally understand that, and I urge you out there, whomever is watching this show, who may be doing any particular business, it's important to understand what your time is worth, what the value of what you do is worth. You know, you can understand this by things. What Stephen A. Smith is doing is no different than what any other company is doing, trying to understand what its value is. You know, if I'm business B and I'm looking at business A and we do the same amount of work and business A is worth, I don't know, $500,000, and I look and I'm like, okay, but we do the exact same thing, we have similar results, then I need to be worth somewhere within that ballpark, certainly. And I think that's what he's doing. I think Stephen A. Smith is combing through the Rolodex of analysts and personalities at ESPN and saying, okay, well, if these guys are making this type of money on, you know, with their respective shows, and I'm making this, and I'm bringing in these type of numbers on my respective show, and I have a history of proof of concept that I know what I'm doing, then I deserve this. It becomes very hard to argue against that, right? So I think he understands that. Good for him. You know, good for him. If he wants to make $100 million, if he wants to make $150 million, good for him. I'm never going to tell anyone you don't deserve to make this. You don't, because I'm not in that position to say that. I'm not in a position to gatekeep over what I think is fair or what I think is fair a person should be. I don't think it's right to do that. Now. It's important to point out that Stephen A. Smith did pocket watch, on the other hand, in the case of Dak Prescott. It is important to do that. I think he would have probably been able to still make his point without bringing in Dak Prescott. But that's the Stephen A. Smith way. That's how he operates. That's what he does. And I think that, you know, it's just business as usual. So